When his life would ever be the same again. As if sensing his thoughts, Mina's eyes opened. Her patterns brightened when she saw him. "You saw," she whispered. "Yes," Han replied simply. "I saw everything." "And you're not afraid?" Han took her hand, marveling at how natural it now felt. "No, I'm not afraid." 2 weeks passed on the mining outpost Moonbase Series 7. The small base was mostly automated, with only 3 human workers who were surprised but welcoming to the unexpected visitors. Han's wound had healed well under Jisu's care, and Mina's strange luminary healing techniques. Han stood at the viewport, watching the stars. Their damaged shuttle sat in the small hangar, beyond repair with the limited tools available. They were stuck here until help arrived or until the luminary found them. The message went through, Jisu said, joining him at the window. "I used the mining company's monthly supply request to hide our data package. It should reach Earth Alliance headquarters in 3 days. And then what?" Han asked. "Best case, they believe us and confront the luminary government. Worst case, they think we're traitors and send ships to arrest us." Jisu smiled slightly. "Always the optimist, Han." Mina entered the small common room, her patterns glowing with a steady blue light that Han now knew meant she was calm. She had spent the past 2 weeks teaching them about her people, their history, culture, and the recent political changes that had led to the current crisis. "The base sensors detected something," Mina said. "A ship approaching, not luminary design." Han straightened. "How long?" 20 minutes until it reaches orbit." They quickly gathered their few belongings. If it was an Earth Alliance ship coming to arrest them, they would need to hide in the mining tunnels. If it was a friendly vessel, they might finally have a chance to deliver their evidence directly. The mining base's communication system crackled to life. "Moonbase Series 7. This is Captain Sun of the Earth Alliance cruiser Dauntless. We're responding to an unusual data transmission. Please confirm receipt." Han looked at Jisu in surprise. "The Dauntless? That's Admiral Lee's flagship. What's it doing in this sector?" Jisu shrugged. "Maybe our message was more effective than we thought." Han approached the communications panel. "This is Commander Han Te, formerly of Nexus 7 Security. Request permission to come aboard with 2 companions. We have urgent information for Earth Alliance Command." There was a long pause before the reply came. "Commander Han, you're currently listed as AWOL and potentially compromised by foreign influence. We'll send a shuttle with a security team." 30 minutes later, Han, Jisu, and Mina stood in the Dauntless's briefing room. Captain Sun was a stern woman with gray-streaked hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. She studied Mina with particular interest. "So you're the reason for all this trouble," she said. Mina's patterns pulsed slowly. "Yes, Captain. I regret the difficulty I have caused these humans, but the information I carry is vital to both our peoples." Captain Sun turned to Han. "Commander, the data package you sent was incomplete, deliberately scrambled according to our analysts. But what we could recover was concerning." "We have the complete data," Han said. "But first I need to know, are we under arrest?" The captain's expression softened slightly. "That depends on what you tell me in the next hour." She pressed a button on the table and a door slid open. "Someone wants to speak with you first." Admiral Lee himself walked in, his uniform impeccable, his face serious but not hostile. Han and Jisu immediately stood at attention. "At ease," the Admiral said. "I've spent the last week reading very interesting reports about a rogue security officer, a stolen shuttle, and a mysterious blue alien." He looked at Mina. "I see the reports were accurate about one thing at least." "Sir," Han began. "I can explain." Admiral Lee held up his hand. 6 days ago, 3 Luminary warships entered Earth Alliance space without permission. They claimed to be pursuing dangerous criminals. Yesterday, they issued what amounts to an ultimatum: return the fugitives or face consequences. Han felt his heart sink. They're going to use this as an excuse for war. "Perhaps," the Admiral said. "Or perhaps they're simply afraid of what your friend here might tell us." He turned to Mina. I understand you have evidence of weapons programs targeting humans. Yes, Mina said. But it is more than weapons. My government has been studying humans for generations. They fear you because you are different. Different how? Captain Sun asked. All other known species follow logical patterns of development and behavior, Mina explained. But humans, you make choices that defy logic. You risk everything for principles. You sacrifice yourselves for strangers. You change and adapt faster than any species we have encountered. The Admiral nodded slowly. And your leaders see this as a threat. Yes. They believe humans will eventually dominate the galaxy because of these traits. Mina's patterns shifted to a deeper blue. But some of us see it differently. We believe we can learn from humans, grow together. Han stepped forward. Admiral, the complete data is stored in this chip. He handed over the small device Jisoo had used to copy Mina's genetic data. It shows plans for first strikes against human colonies, biological weapons designed for human DNA, and years of secret observation. The Admiral took the chip. If this verifies what you're saying, it changes everything. He looked at the three of them. You took an enormous risk bringing this information to us. It was the right thing to do, Han said simply. 3 months. Later, Han stood in the Grand Hall of the Earth Alliance headquarters on Earth itself, a planet he had not seen in 15 years. Beside him stood Mina, her patterns glowing with a mix of nervousness and excitement. Her presence on Earth was unprecedented, the first luminary to officially visit the human homeworld. Ready? He asked her. Mina's patterns pulsed with the new color that Han now recognized as affection. Yes. They walked together into the chamber where representatives from both species waited. The luminary government had fallen after the evidence was made public. The new leadership had requested peace talks, and Han and Mina had been asked to serve as special envoys due to their unique connection. As they took their places at the diplomatic table, Han felt Mina's mind gently touch his, a ability she now used openly with his permission. We did it, her thoughts whispered in his mind. Han smiled. Sometimes the most illogical choice, helping a stranger, risking everything for what's right, leads to the greatest change. Perhaps that was humanity's true gift to the galaxy. No, Mina's thought replied, having heard his musing. Your gift is teaching the rest of us how to be brave enough to make those choices too. And as the historic peace talks began, Han knew that whatever the future held, their two worlds would never be the same again. Neither would they. The end. Pen with a hiss of equalizing pressure. Han! Mina! Jisoo called from the small shuttle docked at the external maintenance port. Hurry! They're sealing all airlocks. As they sprinted toward the shuttle, a blast hit the wall near Han's head. He turned to see 3 security officers at the far end of the maintenance bay, weapons drawn. Go. Han pushed Mina toward the shuttle. I'll hold them off. Before she could protest, Han turned and fired, forcing the security team to take cover. He backed toward the shuttle, trading fire with his former colleagues. As he reached the shuttle ramp, a blast caught him in the side. Pain seared through his body, but he managed to stumble inside as Jisoo sealed the door behind him. Get us out of here, Han gasped, clutching his wounded side. As the shuttle broke away from the station, Han looked at Mina, who was pressing a medical patch to his injury. Why did you do that? She asked, her patterns pulsing with concern. Why risk death for me? Through the pain, Han managed a smile. That's what makes us human, Mina. We choose our own fate even when it makes no sense. The small shuttle raced away from Nexus 7, its engine straining at maximum power. Inside, Jisoo worked quickly to treat Han's wound while Mina piloted the craft. Warning lights flashed across the control panel as 2 larger ships appeared on the radar. Station security vessels, Jisoo said, looking up from Han's side. They're gaining on us. Han winced as Jisoo applied a healing patch to his injured side. The pain was intense, but he forced himself to focus. We need to reach the jump point. If we can make it to hyperspace, we might lose them. Mina's hands moved quickly over the unfamiliar human controls. Her patterns glowed with intense concentration. Your ships are different from ours. Slower, but interesting. The shuttle shook as energy blasts passed nearby. The security ships were firing. Warning shots, not trying to destroy them yet. That would change once they were farther from the station. Han, Jisoo said quietly. The wound is worse than I thought. The blast damaged some internal organs. I've stabilized you, but you need proper medical care. Han nodded, then turned to Mina. How far to the jump point? 3 minutes at current speed, she replied, but the security ships will catch us before then. Han pulled himself up with effort and moved to the co-pilot seat. Then we need a distraction. He accessed the shuttle's systems and began typing commands. Every Earth Alliance ship carries emergency beacons for rescue situations. I'm going to launch all of ours. Won't they know it's a trick? Jisoo asked. Yes, but regulations require them to investigate each one. It might buy us time. With a series of small explosions, a dozen emergency beacons shot out from the shuttle in different directions. Each one emitted the standard distress signal of an Alliance vessel. The security ships hesitated, then split up to investigate the nearest signals. The shuttle continued toward the jump point, now with only one pursuer. It worked, Mina said, her patterns pulsing with what Han had come to recognize as excitement. But we still have one ship following us. The remaining security vessel was closing fast. The shuttle rocked as a direct hit struck their rear shields. Shields at 30%. Jisoo reported, one more hit like that and we're done. Han looked at the navigation screen. The jump point is just ahead. Can we make it? Mina's patterns suddenly changed color, shifting from blue to a vibrant purple. Yes, but I need to touch your mind. Han stared at her. What? To pilot perfectly, I need to merge our thoughts. You know this ship. I know escape tactics. Together, we can do this. Han hesitated. The idea of someone entering his mind was disturbing, yet they had few options left. Will it hurt? He asked. Mina's patterns pulsed gently. No, it will feel strange at first, but I promise not to look at private thoughts. Another blast rocked the shuttle. Shields at 15%, Jisoo shouted. Do it, Han said to Mina. She placed her hand on his temple. Instantly, Han felt a presence in his mind, gentle but alien. Images flashed before him. Strange worlds with purple skies, cities built from crystal that sang in the wind, and feelings that had no human words. At the same time, he sensed Mina experiencing his memories. His childhood on Earth, his first spaceflight, the loneliness of command, and his instant decision to help her despite the risk. Together, their minds guided the shuttle in a series of impossible maneuvers. The security ship couldn't match their sudden, perfect coordination. The jump point grew larger on the view screen. Crying. For hyperspace, Mina said, her voice sounding distant to Han's ears. The security ship fired one last desperate shot. The blast grazed the shuttle just as they reached the jump point. The small craft shuddered violently as space twisted around them, pulling them into hyperspace. The mental connection broke as Mina cut her temple. My people are telepathic. We feel each other's presence. I can block it somewhat, but not completely. Han stood up quickly. You can read minds? Have you been reading mine? No, Mina said quickly. That would be... She searched for the word rude without permission. I only sense emotions, surface thoughts sometimes. Only with touch can I see deeper. Han wasn't sure if he believed her, but before he could ask more questions, his security communicator beeped. He checked it and frowned. A Luminari diplomatic vessel just docked at the station, he told her. 3 officials requesting an urgent meeting with station command. Fear flashed across Mina's face, her patterns pulsing rapidly. They've come for me. How would they know you're here? The tracking device, Jisoo said from the doorway. Han hadn't heard her enter. She held up a small glowing object between tweezers. I found this embedded near her wound. It's biological, grew inside her body. I've never seen anything like it. Can they still track her? Han asked. No, it's deactivated now. But they already know she's on this station. Jisoo placed the device in a containment field. Han, I've been doing research. The Luminari don't send diplomatic missions to human stations, ever. They always meet us in neutral space. Han's security communicator beeped again. His heart sank as he read the message. Captain Kim wants all security personnel to report for duty, he said. The Luminari delegation is claiming a dangerous criminal has infiltrated the station. They're requesting a full security sweep of all levels. Mina stood up shakily. I must leave. Now. If they find me, they will take the evidence. Your people will never know the danger. Where is this evidence? Han asked. Mina touched her chest. Here. In my genetic code. My people can store data in our DNA. They would need special equipment to read it, but they could extract it from me. Han looked at Jisoo. Can you download this data? Jisoo nodded slowly. Maybe, but I'll need time and equipment from the medical bay. Han's communicator beeped a third time. More, urgently. We don't have much time, he said, making a decision that could end his career, or worse. Jisoo, get what you need. I'll keep the search teams away from this section as long as I can. He turned to Mina, whose patterns were now pulsing with a warm, steady light. Why are you helping me? She asked softly. You risk everything. Han didn't have a ready answer. He simply said, because it's the right thing to do. As he left to report for duty, he didn't see the way Mina's patterns changed, glowing with a color no human had ever seen before, the luminary expression of deep connection. Han adjusted the maintenance uniform he had given Mina. The cap covered most of her glowing blue skin, but nothing could hide her large eyes. It was a risky disguise, but their only option. Remember, keep your head down, Han said. The search teams are checking all residential areas first. We need to reach Docking Bay 4 before they expand the search. Mina nodded, pulling the cap lower. Jisoo had spent hours using her medical scanner to copy the data stored in Mina's DNA. Now the evidence was safely stored in a small data chip hidden in Han's boot. The station is on alert, Han continued. There are guards at every major junction, but I know the back ways. Your career, Mina said softly. Your life here. I am sorry to destroy it. Han checked his blaster charge. You didn't destroy anything. I made my choice. They slipped out of Han's quarters, moving quickly through the service corridors. Han had memorized the security patrol routes years ago, a habit from his military days that now proved useful. They avoided the main hallways, taking maintenance shafts and utility passages instead. They were halfway to the docking bay when the station-wide announcement blared. Attention all personnel. Security alert in progress. Report any maintenance. Workers to the nearest security officer for identity verification. Han froze. Someone had noticed the missing maintenance uniforms. They know, he whispered, pulling Mina into a small storage room. We need a new plan. Mina's patterns pulsed rapidly with stress. The Luminari can sense me. The closer they get, the easier it will be. Han thought quickly. Can you block it? You said you could partially block your telepathic signature. Yes, but not for long. It takes much energy. We just need enough time to reach Jisoo. She's prepping a shuttle in Docking Bay 4. Mina closed her eyes, concentrating. The glowing patterns on her skin dimmed until they were barely visible. This will help, she said, her voice strained. But we must hurry. They continued through the back corridors, moving faster now. Twice they had to hide as security teams passed. Each time, Han noticed Mina's breathing becoming more labored. Whatever she was doing to hide her presence was taking a toll. They were one level away from the docking bay when disaster struck. Commander Han, a voice called from behind them. What a surprise. Han turned slowly to face Captain Kim, his commanding officer. Next to Kim stood a tall figure with blue skin much darker than Mina's. The Luminari's patterns pulsed in a way that reminded Han of a predator. Captain, Han said, trying to sound casual. I was just escorting this maintenance worker to Docking Bay 4. One of the environmental systems needs adjustment. Captain Kim's eyes narrowed. Interesting, because according to the duty roster, you should be leading a search team in Section 12. He looked at Mina. And maintenance workers don't usually work alone. The Luminari official stepped forward. His patterns pulsed rapidly as he stared at Mina. This is not a maintenance worker, he said, his voice musical but cold. This is the criminal we seek. He reached toward Mina. You have hidden yourself well, traitor, but your mind cannot hide from mine. Han stepped between them. Sir, with all respect, this is a station security matter. Any suspects should be processed according to Earth Alliance protocols. Captain Kim frowned. Commander, stand aside. We have agreed to cooperate fully with the Luminari delegation in this matter. By handing over someone without a hearing, without representation? Han stood his ground. That's not our protocol, sir. The Luminari's eyes narrowed. Your commander gave an order, human. Your interference is noted. He turned to Captain Kim. This one should be detained as well. He may have been contaminated by the criminal's influence. Han saw Kim's hand move toward his comm unit to call for backup. Time had run out. Mina, run! Han yelled, drawing his blaster. He fired at the ceiling lights, plunging the corridor into darkness. In the sudden blackness, only the Luminary's patterns glowed, making him an easy target. Han fired his weapon on stun setting, hitting the alien squarely in the chest. The Luminary collapsed, his patterns flickering wildly. Captain Kim reached for his own weapon, but Han was faster. The stun blast hit his captain in the shoulder, spinning him into the wall. I'm sorry, sir, Han said to his unconscious commander, but this is bigger than both of us. Han ran after Mina, who had already disappeared down the corridor. Emergency lights began to flicker on, filling the passage with a red glow. Ahead, he could see Mina's dim patterns as she ran. They burst into the next section, just as the station's alarm began to wail. The sound echoed through the metal corridors, joined by the heavy thud of security boots. The whole station is locked down, Han shouted as he caught up to Mina. All regular exits will be blocked. Then we need an irregular exit, Mina said between labored breaths. Han grabbed her arm, pulling her down a narrow service tunnel that few knew existed. This way, it leads directly to the maintenance airlock near Docking Bay 4. Jisoo should be waiting with the shuttle. They raced through the dimly lit tunnel as the sounds of pursuit grew louder behind them. Han's mind raced through options. Once they reached the shuttle, where would they go? The station's defense systems would lock onto them immediately. They needed a plan. The tunnel ended at a small airlock. Han quickly entered his override code, praying it still worked. The door slid open. The red alert light flashed across Commander Han's desk. It was his third straight shift on Nexus 7, the human space station that orbited the neutral zone between Earth Alliance territory and the outer systems. Most days were the same. Check, logs, patrol sectors, file reports. But today was different. The alert wasn't coming through official channels. It was a ghost signal, the kind that security systems weren't built to catch. Han grabbed his standard-issue blaster and medical kit. 12 years in space had taught him one thing. Unusual signals meant trouble, and trouble rarely waited for backup. The lower maintenance tunnels were always cold. Han's breath formed small clouds as he moved through the narrow passageways. The station hummed around him. The steady pulse of life support systems and the occasional hiss of steam release valves. His boots made soft thuds against the metal floor as he followed the signal's coordinates to Section 47B. This is Commander Han Tai, he called out, his voice echoing against the metal walls. I'm responding to a distress signal. Identify yourself. Silence answered him. Han swept his light across the tangle of pipes and conduits. Nothing seemed out of place, but the signal was definitely coming from here. He checked his tracker again and moved deeper into the maintenance shaft. A soft noise caught his attention. Something between a whimper and a whisper. Han turned quickly, his hand moving to his blaster. The light from his torch fell on a dark corner behind a large coolant tank. Show yourself, he ordered, his voice firm but not threatening. A figure slowly emerged from the shadows. Han's eyes widened. It wasn't human. The alien had blue skin that seemed to glow with its own light. Patterns of brighter blue light moved across her face and arms like gentle waves. Her large eyes, almost twice the size of human eyes, blinked at him. She was small, barely reaching his shoulder, with delicate features that reminded Han of old Earth paintings of elves. But what caught his attention most was the dark purple liquid seeping from a wound in her side. "Please," she said in broken standard language. "Help. They find me soon." Han knew the protocol. Any unauthorized alien presence on the station had to be reported immediately. Nexus 7 was a diplomatic hub, and unregistered aliens could mean anything, from smuggling to espionage. His career, his future in the Earth Alliance, everything depended on following that rule. Instead, he holstered his weapon and knelt beside her. "I'm Han," he said, opening his medical kit. "Can you tell me your name?" The alien looked at him with those strange, large eyes. The patterns of light on her skin pulsed weakly. "Mina," she whispered, her voice musical despite her pain. "They hunt me, bad people." Han took out a medical scanner and passed it over her wound. The readings made no sense. Her biology was unlike anything in his medical database. "Who's hunting you, Mina?" he asked, applying a universal coagulant patch to stop the bleeding. "How did you get on this station?" But Mina's eyes were already closing, her light patterns dimming. She was losing consciousness. Han made a quick decision. He activated his personal communicator rather than the official channel. "Jisoo, it's Han. I need your help. Medical emergency in my quarters in 20 minutes. Tell no one." Dr. Jisoo had been his friend since academy days. If anyone could help an alien with unknown biology, it was her. Han gently lifted Mina into his arms. She was surprisingly light, as if her bones were hollow. The glowing patterns on her skin pulsed against his chest, almost in rhythm with his heartbeat. Using his security clearance, Han made his way through the back corridors of the station, avoiding the main halls and their cameras. Every step could end his career. Every person they passed could report them. But something about the fear in Mina's eyes and the way she had reached for him made it impossible to follow protocol. By the time Han reached his quarters, Mina's breathing had become shallow. He placed her carefully on his bed and wiped the purple fluid from her side with a clean cloth. "Who are you?" he whispered, though he knew she couldn't hear him. "And what am I getting myself into?" The door chime sounded, making Han jump. He quickly covered Mina with a blanket and checked the security feed. It was Jisoo, looking nervous but resolute, her medical bag clutched tightly in her hand. Han opened the door, pulled her inside, and locked it behind her. Jisoo's eyes widened as Han pulled back the blanket to reveal the alien. "Han," she whispered, "do you know what you're doing? If anyone finds out about this—" "I know," Han said. "But she needs help. And something tells me this is bigger than just one lost alien." Jisoo sighed and opened her medical bag. "You always had a soft heart. One day it's going to get you killed, or worse, demoted." As they worked to stabilize Mina, neither of them noticed the small tracking device blinking softly under her skin, sending a signal to a ship that had just entered Nexus 7's detection range. 3 days passed since Han found Mina in the maintenance tunnel. She rested in his quarters, slowly healing under Jisoo's careful treatment. Han had been calling in sick days, the first he had taken in his 7 years on Nexus 7. Mina opened her eyes as Han entered with a tray of food. Her blue skin glowed brighter than before, a good sign according to Jisoo's research. "You are back," she said, her voice still musical but stronger now. Her standard language had improved surprisingly fast. "How are you feeling?" Han asked, setting the tray down beside her. "Better. Your friend is skilled." Mina sat up slowly, the blanket falling away to reveal her glowing patterns. They pulsed with a steady rhythm that Han found oddly calming. "Jisoo says your body heals differently than ours, faster." "My people are Luminari," Mina explained. "We adapt quickly." She looked at the food curiously. "It's just station rations," Han said. "I don't know what your people eat, but Jisoo analyzed your biology. She thinks this should be safe for you." Mina picked up a piece of synthetic protein and sniffed it before taking a small bite. Her large eyes widened. "This is interesting," she said diplomatically. Han laughed for the first time in days. "That's one way to put it. No one on this station eats for taste." As Mina ate, Han pulled up his datapad. "I need to ask you some questions. Why were you hiding in the maintenance tunnels? How did you get on this station without being detected?" Mina's light patterns dimmed slightly. "I was desperate. My people, we are not what you think." "I don't think anything yet," Han said. "Tell me." "The Luminari are known to your people as traitors, yes? Peaceful, advanced." She looked down at her hands. "But our government has changed. New leaders took control 2 seasons ago. They believe other species threaten our way of life." Han leaned forward. "Are you saying your government sent you here? Are you a spy?" Mina's patterns flashed in what Han had come to recognize as distress. "No, I was a scientist. I worked on deep space communication systems. But they changed my project. They wanted weapons, not communication." "What kind of weapons?" "Ones that target specific species, humans included." Mina's voice dropped to a whisper. "I could not be part of this. I took evidence and fled." Han sat back, taking in this information. If she was telling the truth, this was bigger than one refugee. This was potential war. Why come here? Why Nexus 7? This station has representatives from many worlds. I thought I could find help, political protection. Mina's patterns dimmed further. But I discovered too late that my government has agents. Here. They sensed my presence as soon as I arrived. "Sensed?" Han asked, confused. Mina, too.